Welcome to the podcast, Let the Prophets Speak. Today we continue our study of Sefer Mishlei, the book of Proverbs. We are about to start chapter 2. In chapter 1, we have heard the advice from Shlomo, from Solomon, the author of Mishlei, to avoid the advice and the enticements of evil people who tried to use their sneaky ways to convince us to follow them in order to gain profit and benefit for ourselves. But instead, we should listen to Chachma, listen to wisdom, as wisdom calls out to us and fools ignore wisdom. So today we begin with, so what does wisdom teach us? What does wisdom tell us? And this, of course, continues in the theme of the teacher or parental figure or authority figure teaching his or her student, and it being addressed as Beni, my son. This could be a parental figure, this could be a teaching figure, but someone is teaching my son. So we have to look at ourselves as this young man or young woman standing before a guide, a sage, someone who is going to advise us and teach us. And what does he teach us? Beni, my son, im tikach amoroi, if you take my words, if you listen to what I'm saying, umitzvosai titzpon itach, and you titzpon, tzafon usually means something that's hidden, something that's held in safekeeping, something that a person puts away in his pocket, in his wallet, in his safe, in a place, metaphorically in his heart and in his mind and in his soul. He hides away and puts something away. So mitzvosai, I want you to hold my mitzvos. Mitzvos means my commandments. My commandments, of course, harkens and makes one think of the mitzvos, the commandments of God to us, and of course that is what is one of the meanings here that one can see here. And as I said, people see all kinds of meanings, but we also see mitzvosai, those things that I tell you, I as the sage teach you those ideas. And what are they? L'hakshiv lachachma oznecha. I tell you, don't be one of those fools who ignores chachma. I am telling you, listen to chachma, listen to wisdom, listen to what wisdom has to say. Mishlei and the book of Proverbs is going to and has already emphasized in numerous cases the life being taught to us by the Torah, by the prophets, by this book of Proverbs specifically, is not a life of blind faith. It's not telling us have faith. There's nothing about faith here. This is about wisdom. Seek wisdom. Wisdom is the bottom line. In order to achieve wisdom, one has to have awe of God. What does that mean? That means the humility to understand our tiny little place in this vast and beautiful world, which is full of so much wisdom. Seek that wisdom. Seek it out. L'hakshiv lachachma. Listen to that wisdom. Aznecha. Turn your ears towards that wisdom. Tate libcha litvuna. Make sure your heart turns to understanding. Try to understand what is going on around you. Learn from those that can teach you. Ki im la bina tikra, because if you call out to bina, to understanding, to true knowledge, to true wisdom, latvuna titen kolecha, and if you give your voice, lift up your voice for true understanding. When you speak with understanding. Don't speak from arrogance. Don't speak from what we today call fake news. Don't speak nonsense. Speak wisdom, understanding. Tvuna im tivaksheno chaker kosef. If you search out wisdom like one searches out silver, v'chamat monim tachbesena, and you search it out like one searches for hidden treasures. Oz tovin yiras Adonai, then you will understand the fear of God. For those of you that have listened to my teaching from Maimonides, these verses here are verses that he emphasizes. One must search for wisdom. One finds wisdom, and that is how one truly understands Yiras Hashem, awe of God, fear of God. How does one achieve God? By looking at the world around him or her and sees how vast and how incredibly complex and incredibly beautiful the universe around us is. Then one appreciates and feels this tremendous amount of yira, this tremendous amount of awe, this feeling of minusculity, if there is such a word, of tininess in this vast, beautiful world that the Creator made around us. That is true awe, true humility, and it only comes through true and real observation and learning and understanding. V'das Elohim timtza, and that is how you find knowledge of God. This is why one of the sources Maimonides uses for the idea that one cannot have true Yiras Hashem, true awe of God, without knowledge, without wisdom. A fool cannot be faithful. A fool cannot understand God. A fool cannot have awe of God. Awe of God comes through contemplation, through wisdom, through vast knowledge. Ki Adonai yitein chachma. I'm in verse 6. Because it is God that gives us wisdom. Who created all of this wisdom that we're learning? When we learn, when we study things, what are we studying? We're studying His creation. And when one recognizes that when we're studying this incredible creation, all of these incredibly intricate and beautiful ideas that we learn from science, all of the laws that govern nature, who was the creator of it all? It was God. And when one realizes how incredibly complex He is, because He is even beyond, He's the creator of all that. He's beyond all that, beyond our comprehension. But when we recognize what we do comprehend, we realize that all of our wisdom is wisdom of God. It is from His mouth that all knowledge and all understanding have come, right? It's only through searching and looking and understanding and seeing His world that we can achieve anything. And once we recognize that, we recognize Yiras Hashem, we recognize awe of God, right? And this is how we can set ourselves on the right path, which is what leads to verse 7, why I said leads us to the right path. So we have all this wisdom and all this knowledge, but how does that make me a better person? How does that make me act in a better way? Because Yitzpon, He hides away what we tuck away in our hearts, this idea that we're seeking truth and seeking wisdom. What does God hide away, Yitzpon? What does He hide away? La'yesharim, for those who are straight, Tushia. Now, Tushia is an extremely hard word to translate. There's a lot of different translations you'll find out there. Based on many other places this is used, chiefly, if we look at Eov, the book of Job, which we studied together not that long ago, chapter 6, verse 13, where Eov uses the term V'tushia nidcha mimeni. Tushia, I use the word success to translate Tushia. I haven't seen others use that translation in this verse, but I've seen many commentaries play with the idea. But I think that that's the best understanding. God hides away for us success for those who are straight, la'yesharim. How does one become straight? One becomes straight because one is humble. One is humble because one has wisdom and knowledge of God and realizes how tiny we are, how nothing we are in comparison to the Creator and His incredibly vast and complex and wonderful creation. So, what does God hide away from us? Because when we realize this, that is how one becomes straight. That is how one lives a life of yashar, right? It's only through humility that one achieves yashar. One does not seek his own gratification when he is humble and he realizes that the world is not about me. The ones who start off saying, let's botzea botza, let's go ahead and make profits off of others, he's the one who thinks the world is about me. A person who is humble is not thinking the world is about me because he realizes how unbelievably, wonderfully vast this world is. So success, true success, is reached by he who is humble, he who is yashar, he who is straight. He is the one who achieves that gift that is tzafon, that is hidden by him with the capital H, God, Magain. He is the protector, lahol chaitom, for those that walk in a blameless. Tom is a simple, blameless path. A tam in the Torah, tamim, is being perfect with God, is being whole with God, being almost naive in a good sense, is a holchei tom. God grants us success, and God grants us protection. Linsor ochos mishpat. Why does he do this? Because he is guarding the pathways of justice. The point of our lives, the point of the entire Torah, can be summed up in the words tzedek, mishpat, justice, and righteousness. Those of you that have been studying with me for these past few years know how much and how often the prophets emphasize mishpat, justice. God is truly guarding the pathways of justice for us, right? Which is why he hides away for those that are yashar, for those that are straight, protection and success. V'derech chasidav yishmar, and he will guard the pathways, the roads that are taken, the ways that are taken by those who are loyal to him, those that stick with him. Oz tavin tzedek u'mishpat. When do you get tzedek u'mishpat? Those two goals of the Torah, the entire goals of the entire Torah, are for us to achieve tzedek u'mishpat. How will you understand what that even is? You will understand that if you follow the path I just laid out for you, the path of knowledge, seeking truth, which requires humility, brings us to humility. The more we learn, the more humble we are, the more we are in fear and awe of God, the more we walk a straight path, the more we are protected from the dangers that surround us, the more we come to the path of success. That is when then Tavin, you will understand what tzedek u'mishpat is. What is this justice and righteousness that I've been talking about through the entire Tanakh? Umeisharim kol ma'agal tov, right? And then at that point, you will understand the meisharim, the straight way, and I like the translation I've seen, and the equity of every good path, the properness of the right way. Then you will understand why walking on the right way is the right thing to do. Ki tavo chachma b'libecha, because this will happen when wisdom enters your heart. It all starts with wisdom. V'das l'nafshecha yin'am. And at this point, knowledge will be sweet to your soul. Knowledge is not something difficult, not something painful, not something hard, but something sweet to your soul. Mizimah tishmar alecha, because if you follow this path, right, you will mizimah, the best translation I've seen for this is, because sometimes mizimot is thinking through kind of in a clever, kind of in a sly way, but here mizimah means thinking properly, or foresight is one word I've seen, or discretion will guard over you. You will know what decisions to make. You will know how to make the decisions in your life, and it will guard you. It will keep you away from danger. Tivuna tintzirkena. I'm sorry, tintzireka. I apologize. The word was a little bit of a tongue twister. Tivuna tintzireka. And tvuna, understanding, will be what guards you and what protects you. And what will it protect you from? It will protect you from, verse 12, la'atzilcha miderech ra. It will save you from the evil path, the one that I told you in the beginning of the book not to go on. Me'ish midaber tapuchos, from the person who speaks with duplicity, the person who speaks things that are upside down and backwards. How do you know who to follow? How do you know who's this ish midaber tapuchos? If you follow the path of humility, the path of seeking truth, the path of awe of God and understanding of the vastness and beauty of the creation, and our humble place within it, then you will be protected from that person who speaks lies, who speaks falsely, who speaks with duplicity. I'm going to stop this podcast here and do the second half of this chapter in the next podcast. He's going to tell us a little bit about this ish midaber tapuchos. Who is this person who speaks with duplicity, the person who is lying, the person who's trying to lead you down the wrong way. He's going to tell us a little bit more about him as we continue the second half of this chapter. Thank you so much for studying together with me the book of Mishlei, the book of Proverbs. I look forward to studying the rest of chapter 2 and the rest of this beautiful book together. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.